Whoop, whoop. Hi you guys, welcome back to PvP School. We're on episode 2. In episode 1 we covered off basically typing advantages, disadvantages, and understanding a bit more about your base stats. Okay, so in this episode what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over by Loomians by numbers. Okay, so we've had loads of Loomians added, so even if you're really good at PvP, this is probably going to be a really good view of how the new Loomians are against the current Loomians. So I'll give you a good bit of insight. For those people who are just getting started, this will obviously help you out along in your journey. As we go along, guys, we are going to be getting more advanced over the next couple of episodes as well. So I just want to put the foundations, because if you do not know your foundations and you do not know the basics of PvP, you are going to get destroyed. Fact. Okay, so I'm on here, the Loomian Legacy fandom. Okay, so you've probably all used this before. So if you go down here to Loomians, we go to the list of Loomians, we go by base stats. Guys, this is a fantastic resource for information. You could sit there and you could go through every single evolution, and you could do it on a spreadsheet. You could do that, and I do that. Okay, but to save time, this is where you want to go, and I'll show you the reason why. Because as we go along, we'll start putting on like things. We'll make cards, like threat cards. We'll make ones for each set. We'll look at showcasing. We'll understand each of them. But I'll explain it this way. Okay, so basically, on this table, it has every single stat, HP across the speed. Okay. What it lets you do is here. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's a wee white arrow up and down just against the green because of color. So if I go HP, top to bottom, okay. So right now, what is actually happening is we've now put on who has the highest stat. Okay, so whenever you're thinking about building your team, what you want to do is think about, right, what am I going to have in my team? Am I going to have somebody who's fast? Am I going to have somebody who can take a hit? Am I going to have somebody who's a special attacker? Am I going to have a melee attacker? I'm going to have someone melee defense, range defense, and so on. Okay, so whenever you think about it, because if you have, let's say, for example, a team of just melee attackers, if you come up against somebody who's a wall, or someone that's going to completely sweep you or faster, you're in trouble. So you need to think about the balance of your team, and this is your starting point. This is where you need to start off and actually understand, because if you skip this part, guys, you're just hoping. If you're going over and you're covering, you're just copying people's sets. If you don't understand them, what's actually the point? So if we look down here, we've got Wiki has got the highest HP. We've got Himber second, Gasstroke, Setamars, Luminami, Ursel, and so on. So if we go down, since the new Loomians came in around about number 10 is Stratosaur. As you can see, he's got the next highest HP. Going down, Munchwheel it's further down. Okay, as you can see, 89 with Tyrex. So if you're thinking about it for HP, that's where it stands. Now that said, if you're looking at HP, you're probably looking at a defensive Loomian. So what you then might look at is their melee defense or range defense. So if you look across, let's take Wiki as an example. It's got really good HP, it's got really good energy, it's got trash attack, it's got trash defense, it's got trash attack, it's trash defense. Okay, it's just got HP. Himber, under really good HP, really good melee defense. Do you see that? So he would be what we would call a melee, physical defender or wall. That said, we now need to go back to episode 1 and we look at our typings. Okay, so is there anything out there right now that pretty much destroys Himber typings? Yes, too many things. Okay, so these are the things that we need to consider. So hence why we looked at it through on episode 1. If I click into Himber now, and again, just because of this website and a resource, if I go down, if I look here, where what? It's decided to take its time. It's moved on me. Okay, so major weakness. So this here is a great resource again. Times 4, none. Times 2, fire. Do we have fire Loomians? Yes, we do. Do we have water? Kinda. Not too many. Plant, again, a few. But look at metal, guys. There's just so many metal Loomians now with the update. So that's one. That's the next thing that you want to be looking at. So thinking about where to go. Going back and looking at by numbers. A few other things I want to have a look at was with the new guys. It's just deciding to freeze on me, which is great. So I'll just go back up to the drop down to the top. So HP, we're going to now see what wikis are. Okay. If we were then to go sort of by, let's say, melee attack. Okay. So for melee attack, Trumbull is top, as you can see. We then have Tatab. We've got Swolder, Ursel, Tyrex comes in as the highest hitting out of the new Loomians on the update. Going down. Then we've got Munchwheel down here as well. So even if you look, Felver's actually stronger than Munchwheel on physical attack. Wow, okay. Felver's actually stronger than Hunter, surprisingly. So as you can see, guys, everything's by table, by numbers there. So if you're looking for a good hard hitting physical attacker, Trumbull, Tatab, Swolder, Ursel, Isagul, Tyrex, generally anything usually around, I guess, 19 upwards is usually pretty good, to be honest with you, in my eyes. If you then want to say I want to look at somebody who hits hard but still pretty fast, what you then look at is the speed column. Okay, so Trumbull, okay, he hits like a house, but his speed's kind of bang average. Tatab, well, he hits like a house, but look at his speed's 104. Okay, so I know Tatab's 104, but how fast is 104? So if I then go here, right, who's going to outspeed me? Gambadevic's going to outspeed me, Protogon's going to outspeed me, Zudon's going to outspeed me, Hunter, Evatros, Duskit, Ferglyph, and then, so those ones are going to outspeed me if they have the same nature. So say for example, all of them have Nimble, and everyone's all trained perfectly with their speed, well then, there's only those that are going to actually outspeed. Is there a way of making Tatab faster? Well, actually there is, believe it or not. Two ways, and this is where we now go into further detail and understand. So every single Loomian has its own ability. Okay, so as you can see here, the normal ability for Tatab is Awakening. Again, you can click into this, you can get this information. So Awakening is an ability introduced in Loomian Legacy. It is the ability to be revealed as the signature ability of all the Loomians. Okay, in effect, Awakening further increases the power of attacks belonging to the same type as the possessor. Okay, so if you hit with a brawler type or a plant type, then the boost is known as attack bonus. It increases from 40% from the usual 25. So if you use jungle jutsu with Tatab, it's gonna hit like a house. Again, if you use any physical grass type move, it's obviously then gonna hit a lot harder as well. So grass type, plant type. Okay, so if you look Nature's Force, again you've got all these other moves that you can learn by rallying as well. And this is something, the rally moves I'll come back to in a further one. But again, can we make Tatab faster? Well, if we look at his second ability, which is a secret ability, it has an ability called Thriving Pace. Okay, so in Thriving Pace, it says when the possessor is inflicted a non-volatile status ailment, its speed is increased by 50%. So basically, if it has, say, burn on it, well then it's going to increase by 50%. If it's poison, it's going to increase by 50%. If it's paralyzed, it's going to 50%. So there is a way of doing that and looking at those abilities. So that's the next thing you obviously want to do. So whenever you're looking at it, we've now looked at Tatab and we went, right, can Tatab hit like a house? Yes, okay. What moves can Tatab get? Right, jungle jutsu, 90 power, right, that's really good. We've also now looked at his ability with Awakening. So if we say were to look at that, you know, for argument's sake, it's going to hit around about what? Strength wise, it's going to go from what, 40% extra. So it's going to look like what 130-ish, top of my head. Nature's Force is ranged attack. Now, this is where again you need to look at when you're building your team. melee attack. So we know that he's a melee attacker, which means we're going to hit harder. But if we used a ranged attack, his range stat may not be that high, and you might not have trained it in ranged attack. So his ranged attack's 80, but his melee attack's 126. What's probably going to do more damage? In theory, the melee attack, it obviously depends on your opponent. Okay, so let's say your opponent has a really high melee defense. Okay, so let's say you've got Tatab in, and you are up against, I don't. Say you're up against Cressite, for example. Okay, or Obsidragon. So if you were to hit Obsidragon with a melee attack against his melee defense, Obsidragon's gonna, it's a bit of a wall. It wants to be hit. If it's going to get hit, it wants to be hit by a melee attack because its melee defense is so strong. Its ranged defense, on the other side, isn't as strong. So what you then might do is go, right, I know Tatab is going to hit him. I know that he's going to be able to tank it. What could I do? Well, then this is where we need to understand our team and think, right, who's going to be really good against Obsidragon that has good range attack? I know, so you might then go down to top of my head. Let's say you go to the Guardian. Wow, Guardian's range attack's really high. If I had Guardian coming in the Obsidragon and hit him, surely that's going to do a lot of damage because his range defense is low, but Guardian's is really, really high. So this is really, really important to understand, and I would always take the time to have a look at this whenever I'm thinking about building a team. I might be thinking about one Loomian in particular I want to add to my team, and one of them maybe, so I've now kind of looked at the numbers. So if I look at, let's go top of my head, let's go, I want to train Ikizuni. So at the moment Ikizuni's range attack's really high, so what I could do is, one, think I want to get a really good personality on it that either complements it or covers what it has a deficit in. So for example, Ikizuni, we need to catch it in the wild. So you might want to get a Dusket who's pure nimble and catch it. What you're then going to do is, nothing's going to drop. It'll get one personality and it'll increase in speed, which covers what it falls short on. And then what that'll do is potentially move faster than a few others, Loomians. The other side is that maybe I get a pure smart one, and then I increase the range attack so I can just hit like a house. So this is where now, whenever we covered last time the elements and we covered the personalities, this is now the next step. I'm thinking, here's my thought process. This is what I need to look at in terms of whenever I'm building next. So guys, I'm not going to go on too much. I do encourage you to use this. It's a fantastic resource. I think that it's really, really good. I think that whenever you're looking to build your team, you need to spend some time and look at it, because you'll need to also think of what complements what. On the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look briefly at training and rallying. Okay. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at training and rallying in the next episode. I'm then I'm going to build someone. Okay, I'm going to take a Loomian, I'm going to build it, and I'll explain my thought process on those sets. After that, what we're then going to do is we're now going to then look at showcasing. And when we're showcasing, we're looking at counters, we're looking at pivots, we're looking at swaps. We're going to be looking at all that information. We'll actually show some live gameplay. But right now, as I said, we need to nail the basics. And again, what I would say is, even if you are an established player right now, do take the time to have a look at this table, because we have had the introductions of other Loomians. Based on what's been tweeted out by Llama Trade Studios, we are expecting another update with more Loomians actually coming out as well. So again, this is a resource. If you do not use it, I would encourage you to do it. If you do use it, guys, thumbs up, good job. At least we can now have a further look at how it all works. Because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at moves. So if I looked at, for example, Guardian. So, and this is kind of what we're going to be looking at. Guardian, for example, if we go down, we know he's a metal type, okay? So his weaknesses are going to be, as you can see, fire, electric, earth, and brawler. We then look at Guardian and we go, right, okay, so we know he's a ranged attacker. Is there anything that we can do to, if he's metal, what can we do to help him? If you look at his moves, for example, he can think of Thunder Strike, Fire Breath, Frostbeam. Be like, right, actually he's got some coverage. We then look at his speed is trashed. We then look at his abilities. What's his abilities? Okay, he's got clutch. Good, he can take a hit. So these are the type of things, guys, that we want to look at in the next couple of episodes of PvP School. So guys, if you've enjoyed the video, please do hit the like. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, turn your notifications on in case I'm doing streams or giveaways. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've helped you, even to give you a bit of a refresh. Do bear with me with those advanced players. We are going to get into some more depth moving forward. I've been Warm Connell 007. Whoop, whoop, keep it country.